Councilman Donahue?
Here.
Gross?
Here.
Patterson?
Here.
Tatishua?
Here.
Thompson? Vice President Reed?
Here.
President Stewart?
Here.
Mayor Reed?
Here.
I did receive a text message earlier this afternoon. Danielle's in some training on her primary place of employment, but she did mention that she would definitely be at our next meeting, the regular council meeting next week. Start off on a very, very positive note. Eddystone Borough has been approved to receive a Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection number 567 Recycling Technical Assistance Grant, which has a value up to $7,500. The grant is being provided at no cost to the borough, which means that there's no matching dollars, so there's no cost for the borough to participate in this grant opportunity. And the objectives of the grant would be to develop a detailed plan to increase recycling participation both on the residential and commercial sides, and to help us reach our goal of a 20% diversion rate. A scope of work will be discussed this coming Wednesday in our Highway and Sanitation Committee meeting, which is at 7 o'clock. Councilman Donahue and Councilman Patterson, you both serve on that committee with myself. I did send to you this afternoon an outline prepared by Kate Ferry. They keep on the car, Kate Ferry from KRF Environmental. That is her basis of writing a detailed scope of work. What I've asked Kate to do primarily is to focus 70% of this grant effort on the commercial side. I just think that there's a lot of businesses in town that don't currently recycle, or those that do recycle do not report their numbers appropriately to the Delaware County Solid Waste Authority. And those are the numbers. We need the businesses to report those numbers so that we can get the more dollars on the participation grant, the performance grant. 30% of our efforts would be concentrated towards getting more participation residentially, and we're looking at 10% of our effort being focused on education through the elementary school system. So if you take an opportunity to look at her outline, if you've got any comments, certainly shoot them to me, or be prepared to discuss them at Wednesday's committee meeting. What has to happen, the next step is that, you know, she provides a detailed scope of work, so she basically will expand that outline into a format that is acceptable to the DEP. The DEP has to review and approve her detailed scope of work. So we will have to take action at next council meeting to approve her scope of work. What that does is it gives her the authority to submit it to the DEP, and then the DEP will review it. They'll either return it looking for additional comments, or approve her to start with the work. Her deliverables, her deliverable is going to be due by the end of the first quarter of next year. So we should have a very detailed plan in place end of March, just in time for Earth Day in April, and we can really increase the amount of recycling that we're trying to collect. Mr. Vicente, I did send a note to Robin Henderson, our tax collector, to get a list of the businesses in town. I'm assuming Robin would have that. If not, if you've got any other avenues that I could reach out, get a list. What I need is the business name, address, telephone number, and primary point of contact person. That'll at least give Kate the starting point of starting to reach out, make contact with the businesses, and really find out what their business is all about and where their recycling opportunities are. Mr. Donahue, wanted to thank you for spearheading the effort. We will begin discussions on a consolidated collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge number 27. Those discussions will begin Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock during our Police and Public Safety Committee meeting. What I've asked Lieutenant Joseph Pretty is the representative from the department for the FOP, correct, Mayor?
Yes.
He is going to bring his assembly of documents. The mayor and our chief of police, Ed Macheski, is going to bring their complement of documents, and we will just start the discussion of, how to put this series of documents together into one contract. It's not going to change the collective bargaining agreement that we are currently operating under, which I believe runs through the end of 2016, correct, Mayor?
I believe so, yeah.
But what it does is it gives, that on-the-desk copy that you're looking for, so that if there's a question or an issue that comes up, there's one singular document that we're going to open up and interpret what the FOP rules are. Members of council, I did circulate via email this afternoon an update on the memorandum of understanding that we have with Chief Macheski. I'm hoping where the ball is right now, it is in the court of the FOP. Our legal counsel has received their comments from our original document. We've redlined our version and we've submitted it to the FOP for resubmittal. I will hopefully have something back, I would say, middle of this week. And as soon as I get that back, I'll circulate it to everybody. I am crossing my fingers, hoping that we would be able to take action on approving the memorandum of understanding, which would essentially serve as the employment agreement with Chief Macheski, and that would become effective beginning of January 2015. I forgot to bring them out of the back of my car, but we do have some postcards that were produced by our webmaster, which introduces our website. I will bring them up immediately following this meeting so that you can take a stack with you, and as you see your neighbors, certainly take an opportunity to pass them out and introduce the website, the complaint, and this is the day that we address the complaint. So that leads into, what I see new for 2015. From a documentation standpoint, I would like to see us in the meeting minutes actually put, if we do receive a public concern, whether that is via our public forum, whether it is the right to know process, or whether it is through the website on report an issue, is to list the concern or issue that is of public nature, not of personal nature, but of public nature. Put that directly in the meeting minutes and give our follow-up so that we know that those concerns have been addressed. Mr. Precente, any additional right to knows that we've received in October, November?
Well, I told you, I think last meeting, October we received 8.
Yep.
And then November we received 2.
2.
From the same requester?
Yeah.
And then the last bullet point that I want to bring to council's attention is that the Delaware County Council has initiated planning for their fiscal year 2015 Community Development Block Grant Program, which we all know as the CDBG. The county anticipates receiving approximately $3 million in the upcoming program year, which is scheduled to begin distribution on the 1st of July 2015. Those parties interested in applying for funding should forward an application package to the Delaware County Office of Housing and Community Development, and all applications must be received no later than 4:30 in the afternoon on January the 12th, 2015. For your use, I put the website at the bottom of the bullet point. This is something that typically we coordinate through our borough engineer. The reason I bring it to your attention is that we would need to take very quick action on coming up with some things that we would like to see done here in the borough that would qualify for community development block grant funding. So with that being said, we could take some time over the next week. visit the website. It's got a nice link to the HUD website that tells you all about community development block grants and what type of funding is available. And we will certainly be in a position to where we would have some discussions with Mr. Catania when he's here at our regular meeting, so that he can begin the ball rolling with getting our application prepared and make sure that we are submitted on time so that we're able to capture our fair share as the Borough of Eddystone for community development block grant monies.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
this? Can we include the building, this building, like upgrades?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, because well,
We were told last year we couldn't.
No, you couldn't. So a land acquisition,
Handicap, so like the sidewalks we're doing this year, sanitary sewer we've done.
that's all we ever do.
But last year it did come up though, maybe if you're reading something different.
I read some different things that you can do with community development block grants, whether we have the time in a month and a half to put some of this stuff together. One of the things that I found most interesting was a program, it was called Neighborhood Stabilization. What it allowed you to do is, as a borough or municipality, you could create a reauthorization committee to where the borough would be able to, instead of allowing a house to go into foreclosure from the bank, the borough would have the opportunity to purchase the house and use community development block grant monies to do the rehabilitation, and then, in turn, offer the house to, some type of first-time homeowner or,
Rent it?
I don't know if we can rent it. I think they want you to turn it over, and it's going to promote home ownership.
Yeah, that's something we want to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So take the opportunity to take a look at it. I believe it's called the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. Public forum. I don't see anybody on the board. I'll give one last chance for any public forum this evening. Action items, which would council would take action at our next regular council meeting. We would be taking action on our treasurer's report, cash receipts and disbursements journal, code enforcement report, police report, fire report. Council will also be taking action to adopt the preliminary budget for 2015. As long as the legal scales are operating correctly, we should be in a position to be able to approve the memorandum of understanding with Chief Macheski. I almost said acting chief again. Councilman Patterson and Councilman Donahue, what I'll need from you guys is to make a recommendation at next meeting for council to approve the scope of work for the Pennsylvania DEP 567 Recycling Technical Assistance Grant. Also, we talked at our budget meeting about pay increases for the non-uniformed employees, which would be effective Monday, the 5th of January 2015. Tim, I meant to send you a note today, and I do apologize. What I'd like to do, in years past, we had a list. I don't think it was the individual employees' names, it was more positions, what their existing salary was and what the increase in pay
salary
would be.
resolution.
Salary resolution?
Tina probably.
We have it.
Is Tina still here?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Did you hear
Salary resolution for next meeting
No.
for non-uniformed employees?
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Thanks, team.
Council, any other action items that I failed to mention in our list?
There is a request to move the meeting till Tuesday.
I'm getting there.
Okay, just because it mostly comes down to Joe's schedule because of conflict, and he does the PowerPoint.
I'm getting there. Upcoming public meetings and events. This coming Wednesday, the 3rd of December, at 6 o'clock will be the meeting of the Police and Public Safety Committee. That is Councilman Donahue and Councilwoman Tatasciore. And that's where we will have Lieutenant Pretty President, and we'll talk about the consolidated contract.
I told you I couldn't make that day.
That's fine, no problem.
Engagement.
Hmm?
You said you would catch
Yeah,
me up.
yeah, I'll catch up on it. Just to set a timeline for the discussion, Councilman Donahue, is I'd like to leave that meeting in a position to where I'd be able to send like all of the documents to our legal counsel, give them the opportunity to do the first merge, and let them send it to the FOP, take a look at, let the FOP make comments and send it back. Realistically, I'd like to be in a position the first meeting in January 2015 for us to be able to present it to council and to approve the consolidated contract. So maybe a little aggressive on the schedule, but something that, I spoke with Kelly Sullivan, who's our labor counsel, and she said as long as the FOP participates, it's very doable.
And who's legal, who is that,
Our legal,
and do they have anything?
our legal is McNichol, Byrne, and Matalowski. Kelly Sullivan is the attorney who has been assigned Eddystone. They work with a lot of other different municipalities, so she is very familiar with trying to put a consolidated contract together. Her comment was, are you sure you want to do this? Because, we're in the same position with a lot of other boroughs and municipalities, is that, when it comes time to do the collective bargaining agreement, the FOP sends, a 2 or 3 page letter that says, these are the changes we'd like to make. Are you comfortable with the changes? And that is what the boroughs and municipalities typically accept. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
But it's doable. We'll get it done. It's something that needs to be done. And, I applaud you for, wanting to spearhead the effort. So we'll get it done. 7 o'clock that evening, we have the Highway and Sanitation Committee. That is Councilman Donahue, Councilman Patterson. If I could ask you to attend that meeting a little bit early, if you can. Bob will already be here, but Dave, if you can come up at 6:45. Kate Perry will have a detailed scope prepared. Perry. She'll have a detailed scope prepared along with the outline. She just wanted to take the opportunity to present it to us, and then we would be able to start the meeting at 7 o'clock, right on the button. For those who are interested, and I did italicize it since it's not something that is sponsored or hosted by Eddystone, but there is a public hearing for the Office of Housing and Community Development on Thursday the 4th at 5 o'clock. That will be at the Office of Housing and Community Development located at 600 North Jackson Street, room 101 in Media. I might attend just so that I have my own education of, how the folks at the OHCD conduct their meetings and prepare for the community development block grants. Many applause to whoever put together the flyers that were recently distributed.
Teresa Corcoran's husband.
Teresa Corcoran's husband?
Yeah,
Yes.
They're beautiful.
they are.
Very pretty.
Did a great job.
He's a printer. By trade.
So the Ladies Auxiliary is hosting their first annual pizza party with both.
It's the second, isn't it?
Be the second.
It's the second.
It's this first annual.
They did it last year.
They didn't do the reading
Did
though.
the bunny last year.
Yeah, they did the
Oh,
bunny.
they did the bunny.
They
You're
did the
right.
bunny, so this is the
You're
first
right.
annual.
You're right. First with
You're
Santa.
right. First was Santa.
It's something with Santa.
Has to happen.
So Friday, the 5th of December 2014, at the Joe Hughes Memorial Hall down at the Eddystone Firehouse, 112 East 7th Street, starting at 6 o'clock. Children are encouraged to attend. Is there an age limit?
don't think so.
Okay.
No. I'm bringing, mine, and they're 3 and 5.
It must be accompanied by an adult.
That's right. No, they're accompanied by an adult.
Yes.
That's key. They gotta be accompanied.
Must
by
be
an adult.
accompanied by an adult. $5 per person, which
Yeah.
includes 3 tickets, a slice of pizza, beverage, and a cookie. There is a cookie decorating
Yes,
at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And at 7:30, Mrs. Claus will read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
yes. It should be a lot of fun. They're working very hard for this, the Leeds Auxiliary and all.
The following day, Saturday, the 6th of December.
Right.
Now, I had listed it at 12 noon, but I see the flyer says 1 o'clock. Is that the correct time, 1 o'clock? And it doesn't matter to me. For the senior luncheon, I put 12 to 2 on the website, but I may have just...
Usually 1 to 3. Yeah, I think so.
I'll check for sure.
We will do, well, the flyers went out to the community, so it's now
Yeah,
1
right.
o'clock. It's
Yeah.
now 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think it is. I think
Seniors will be
we
there
helpers
early.
gonna be there at noon.
They'll be
Okay.
there early.
All seniors, and our definition of a senior is 55 and older.
Yes. That's me. I gotta wait till June. Oh, that's a shame.
Ah, you can serve.
Are cordially invited to come enjoy a hot meal, good friends, and some Christmas cheer. If there's any seniors that would require a ride, please give Borough Hall a call at 610-874-1100, and we will arrange to make sure that we pick up any of the seniors who are in need of a ride. We've also, in years past, for those who are not feeling well or shut in, if they wanted to give the Borough a call at the same number, we would make arrangements to make sure that we drop off a takeout platter to those seniors. So please pass the word out. And Santa Claus is coming to town on the 13th of December 2014. Santa begins his arrival in Eddystone with a fire truck ride beginning at 10 a.m. And all of the children are invited at Lighthouse Hall. What time is that going to be, Dave? 10:30 or 11?
That's when Santa arrives.
Santa arrives at 10, he's usually there by quarter of 11 or
11 o'clock? Oh, I see it. It says 11 a.m.
11:30.
At 11 a.m., giving a toy to every child 10 and under that resides in Eddystone. We ask that every child is accompanied by a parent or guardian, and that they bring a proof of residency, whether it's a driver's license, utility bill, rental agreement, just to prove that they're a resident of Eddystone. Council, I listed on the meeting minutes a tree lighting ceremony. We traditionally do a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. I threw a tentative date out there of the 12th of December, which is the Friday before Santa arrives. Just wanted to see if there was any thoughts, whether the 12th was a good date, Friday night.
Good for me.
Feel bad. You'll be here on Friday night.
Is the school gonna be able to?
It's put an email out to Mr. Durazio, and he said if council was to say the 12th was the date, that he would make sure that we have carolers coming up. And I did speak with, didn't want to go too premature, but I did speak with Chief Macheski and had him at least put a notice out for crossing guards, so that we can get some crossing guards from the school up to the monument. And I skipped over it. I do apologize, Mr. Vicente. Our next regular council meeting was scheduled for Monday, the 8th of December at 7 o'clock. There is a conflict with our treasurer, and there's been a request to move that meeting to the 9th, correct?
That's right.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Or will it be 6?
7. 6 will be executive session.
Okay, that's what I want to know. That works for me.
At the regular council meeting, we will be taking action to adopt the preliminary budget for 2015. That preliminary budget needs to be available for public inspection for a minimum of 10 days after council takes action to adopt it. So therefore, let's move the special meeting, instead of Monday the 22nd, we'll do Tuesday the 23rd. Is that okay with Mr. Vicente and the rest of council?
Yes, Joe said that he could even do it if we wanted to at 4 o'clock in the
4
afternoon.
o'clock, late in the work.
What day is that?
23rd, the day before Christmas Eve.
What day is that?
Tuesday.
That's a good, is it a Tuesday?
Yes,
Tuesday at 4 o'clock?
23rd is a
I'm
Tuesday.
best with 7. 7 works for me.
I'm already 7.
You all right with 7? It's not gonna take long. We're gonna be 15 minutes.
Okay.
That's all we do that night.
That's all we do that night, there's no other,
And what's the date on that?
23rd.
Tuesday the 23rd. And Mr. Vicente, you'll have to prepare an advertisement to the Daily Times for, okay. And that'll be both for the
Change.
Yes.
change of date on the regular meeting to the 9th,
And then the other one gets
and then special
put in
meeting.
on the 10th then because of the, you gotta do it for, yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Any other public meetings or events that I may have missed?
The cookie swap is on December 20th from noon to 2. Anyone that wants to participate, bake your favorite cookie. If you could do 4 dozen, so that way you'll ensure that everyone has enough to swap.
I thought we were doing 1 extra dozen, so then you could give it, donate it to like a senior
Yeah.
home or something, or whatever.
Yeah, if anyone wants to donate a dozen cookies for shut-ins, and I don't really know what else she said, but there's a couple things that she'd like to have the cookies donated to.
So you prefer 5 dozen?
Yeah, if we can get 5
Bring 5 dozen
yes.
cookies. Bring 5 dozen cookies, be prepared to take 4 dozen home.
That works.
Oh, what do you make?
Huh?
What do you make?
I don't know, I might have my mother do the chocolate chip cookies that she's famous for.
There we go.
General updates, we will have an executive session of council. I will move that date from Monday the 8th till Tuesday the 9th at 6 o'clock. That executive session would be to discuss personnel and litigation matters, followed by the regular council meeting, and I'll change that date from the 8th to the 9th at 7 o'clock. And Vice President Reeves, you have the prayer.
One thing,
Roundtable.
because it's Christmas, the mayor should say the prayer.
Roundtable discussion, I will start with my right, Councilwoman Tatasciore.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Vice President Reeves.
No, I don't have anything tonight, I'll save it for next week.
Councilman Patterson.
I'd just like to say thank you to Dan Corcoran. Did a great job with the flyers, and everybody on Rex down there kicking butt trying to make everything happen, so you're doing a good job. That's everything.
I do understand basketball study, correct?
Yes, basketball has started. We even have our biddy ball courts that come down to 6 feet so that the little guys can shoot. They do their little dance and everything on Saturday mornings after they make a shot.
What time's that start on Saturdays?
10 o'clock.
10 a.m. on Saturday? What age group is that?
5 to 7.
Yeah, you know what, I'm sorry, I should thank the rec board too, because I saw those guys walking pounding the streets,
Yep,
passing those flyers
they
out.
were doing good.
They are really nice, and he did a good job, so.
And Mr. Pace, Armin Pace, and his sister, Mary Pace, and their mother, donated the $800 for the rims, and we're gonna have the father's name on the backboard of the rim.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Of
that
the
was
what?
really nice of them to do that. Excuse me?
I didn't quite understand the father's name on the back of the what?
The basketball courts. We
Oh,
have
the
mini
rims.
courts
Oh,
that you
sure,
put down
sure,
shorter for,
sure.
Small guys Saturday morning, And, Mr. Pace, Armin Pace, and, his sister Mary Pace, and their mother had donated $800 towards those rents. So we're gonna have the father's name,
Samuel.
yes, on the backboards.
Great.
So, it's community working together. That's everything, sir.
Do you have the age groups for the recreation? And what days they play? Is that all set?
Yeah,
And the reason I ask is I'd like to put it up on the website so that,
let me confirm for sure what night, which groups, yeah. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think it's the little guys Tuesday, 7 to 10, and then I think it's 11 to 14. But I'll find out for sure and give you, send you an email.
okay. Councilwoman Gross.
I'd like to say hats off to the Boy Scouts for doing the can drive again this year. Apparently they collected a lot, so a lot around in town, so I think they, well, yours always next year. But I thought that was a great thing. Nah, canned food, yeah. But that was a good job, well done. They do it every year. I just wanted to say, congratulations on another job good done.
I'd like to commend the community because I did take the opportunity to ride through town, and it was very warming to see the number of folks that had the yellow bag from ShopRite on their doorstep, waiting for the Boy Scouts to pick it up.
And Mr. Bennett had his name on it if you needed any help or whatever.
I called him and asked him to come back around because I wasn't outside quick enough. So he did. He came right back around and got the bag,
Yeah,
which I thought was nice.
yeah. Another good thing in town.
Yep.
That's what I have to say.
Councilman Donohoe.
I just have a question about this, why are we negotiating through the FOP for the chief of police job? He's not under the contract.
He's not under the collective bargaining agreement, however, he is entitled to legal aid. Since he is a civil service police officer, he is entitled to the legal aid that the FOP provides.
And is there any way I can find out what the lieutenant and sergeant salaries are? It's a budget thing, it just has them all lumped in together.
It'll be on the salary resolution.
I have that.
Yeah, I'm just curious of pay, because I looked at last year's budget, and Ed's salary was $84,438, and now it's gone up to $92,500.
What was Connor's?
That's base, what you have to understand is that's base
If
salary.
we go back to the things, it's gonna be less than.
That is base salary. That doesn't include overtime, comp time, or
And
anything
then
like that.
usually what you do, in the past, has been, you look at the lieutenant's salary. I think it's happened in the past when you had lieutenants in the past. They've always given them like 1,500 or something like that more. That's an $8,062 raise from last year. That's a pretty hefty raise, and I'm just curious. Like I said, they're breakdowns. I have last year's budget, and it just showed the 84,000, but on the rest of the police officers, it's got them all lumped in together. And I know we didn't have a lieutenant until the years went through. But
We can get you lieutenant salary as well as the sergeant.
just to help the job. And I don't begrudge anybody to make a living. I'm just saying $8,000 in 1 year. I think everybody up here would love that kind of raise for 1 year.
Actually, when Connor became chief, he had over a $20,000 raise first year.
Yeah, again, I don't have them, I wish someone could show me.
It was over 20,000.
Once you
So
get
you were bottom of the barrel.
Once you get all the
It went all the way up to the top.
look at it.
See the,
Yeah. They'll get
like I
it for
said,
you.
I asked for last year's
When
We'll
budget.
get you last year's salaries.
When did the ranks become official? Because what we can do is like get actually what they've been paid from our payroll.
We haven't had rank for,
No, when we approved the rate.
Yeah, one was Joe Pretty and,
I believe it was October.
I think October.
okay. Just need like a point of reference.
But I'm not sure of Bill commission before, you had lieutenants and stuff then, right?
Yes, we did.
So,
He was,
and I believe it went to,
he was the lowest senior, he was the lowest guy in the seniority pool. He was at the bottom of the rank. He at top grade. He was in maybe, he just started the second step, and he went from here all the way up to here. Over a $20,000 raise.
but it was do you know what it was between lieutenant and chief? I think it was like
The
1,500.
chief is supposed to make at least 10% higher than the lieutenant.
I believe, you said $1.
That's what it used to be, years ago.
And then they went to 1,500. I'm hearing it was 1,500.
I'm
That's what I
going
mean,
back,
just-
I'm going
I'm just
back
saying,
years
eight
ago.
curious.
I wanna temper too much discussion about the memorandum of understanding, just simply because we're still in the negotiation phase, so, you know, the information that I did provide to you, I marked as confidential and privileged information attorney-client. So I don't wanna go too far down the road of talking too much about the memorandum of understanding until we've at least, you know, got a complete document back. Anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Mayor?
Last Wednesday, he started back to me, became a father, a little baby girl.
Aw, that's wonderful. Everybody's doing well?
Everybody's doing well, and they're all at home, yes.
And how much your baby weigh?
I never asked.
He's a guy.
What they
So
name?
much,
What
maybe
they
a couple
name her?
pounds.
What they name
Yeah,
her?
he told me the name, but I don't remember.
Don't even remember her name.
No,
Is it a boy or
it's
girl?
not my kid,
Girl.
so I
It's a
don't
girl,
remember.
right? It's a girl. It's a girl, right?
It is a girl, yes.
Facebook.
Do you know her name?
I really can't remember.
And that's all I have.
Tina showed me.
Well, please pass along our congratulations to
I will do.
Sergeant McNamee.
When the agreement with Chief Bachevsky is finalized, that's something that is going to be made public.
That becomes a public document, yes.
Right. And if we're comparing salaries between the past chief and the present chief, is there going to be some way to compare whether the job has changed in terms of compensation for overtime and things like that?
There is no overtime, there is no compensatory time.
Okay.
And once again, I have to be very careful exactly what I divulge, because we still are, you know, in the negotiation
Yeah,
phase.
well, I'm not
personnel
specifically
issues.
asking you what the differences are. I'm just, if somebody's gonna make, if we're gonna make comparisons between what the chief was making and what the chief is now making, you know, I just, it's gonna help to have a basis of comparison if we know how many hours are being compensated and so forth. So, that's
There
good.
shouldn't be any at the chief's
Do
comp,
each requirements.
there shouldn't be any overtime at the chief's level, and there shouldn't have been. So if there's no overtime, there's no comp.
I believe he's trying to say.
No offense to
Show
holidays.
Former chief's compensation compare.
Mayor, nothing else?
That's it for me.
Now, really, what I was getting at was if it's now a salaried position, that's as much as he's going to earn. It's not an open-ended number as it has been in the past, where you could budget a base salary, but you never knew what you were actually going to be paying the person at the end of the calendar year.
It's always been a salary. There's comp to other things.
Well, it wouldn't be a salaried position if you're also getting overtime.
They never got, not that, from what I've been asked. They, but, again.
Tomato, tomato.
Wait until we get the paper.
I'll make one comment just to clear the air a little bit, is the compensatory time that was provided to the former chief was calculated on 1.5 times on hours beyond 40. So even though it was not, we'll call it, in the paycheck overtime, the compensation time was 1.5 times the calculation. did have some discussions at our budget meeting. We do have a new business in town, Suburban Waste, has moved into the old Robbins Trucking Building, and I did have the opportunity to meet the owner and invited him to a council meeting, so he is planning on attending. He was going to attend on the 8th. I'll shoot him a note, ask him to now attend on the 9th to present what his operations are down there on the industrial highway.
Does that mean that Robbins is no longer there?
Robbins is no longer there.
Have been there for a number of years now.
Council, any other roundtable discussion? May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So ordered.
Meeting adjourned.